Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order for the Town of Brunswick Planning Board for April 3rd, 2025. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, our agenda this evening, as it was posted on the town website and the town board, is as follows. Number one, Paramount Building Group major subdivision. Applicant proposes a major subdivision on approximately 33-acre parcel of land, as well as construct a new road with a cul-de-sac and a water main extension on property located at the northeast corner of Spring Avenue Extension and Frick Road. Paramount Building Group of New York is the applicant. This agenda item has been requested to be removed from the agenda by the engineer, Matt Bond, of the Paramount Building Group, and placed on the agenda for our next meeting on April 17th. Number two, CDP Hills LLC waiver of subdivision. Applicant seeks to transfer approximately 1.45 acres to the adjacent parcel on property located on 110 Lord Avenue. CDP Hills LLC and Wolf Hills Ranch LLC are the applicants. We also have several items under new business to address. And with that being said, we will start our meeting with the review of the minutes of the prior meeting on March 20th for review and approval. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those? Is there any changes, additions, amendments? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve the minutes as they were submitted. Do I have a second? There's a second. Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, as previously stated, the Paramount Building Group has requested to be removed from the agenda and placed on our April 17th agenda. So we're going to number two on our agenda, CDP Hills LLC waiver of subdivision.
Good evening. Lucas Richardson with the Environmental Design Partnership, representing CDP Hills LLC with the permission of Carl and Mary Stoll to subdivide their parcel of land at 110 Lord Avenue. Since the meeting last week, with the realizing that the planned unit development in the rear was still active, our client has decided to.
I'm gonna, for the purpose of the record, I'm not sure if any determination made by the town attorney as to whether the PDD is active or not.
Okay.
The issue was raised, but given the modification of the application, I'm not sure there's been a determination made, so I just want the record clear.
We've decided in order to not interrupt what may or may not be active on the rear parcel to move to a standard two-lot subdivision, naturally divided by Blair Lane, splitting the Stoll's parcel in two. And our intention is never to actually build on it, but I have shown a proposed driveway as requested by the town, and we've shown the septic and the well on the parcel that, or the portion of the parcel that has the house on it.
Now, for the record, I believe we received an ag statement for you. We have a postal data statement. So that's been received and approved. Do you have a copy of that?
I have it in the office.
And moving forward, I just have one question for the building department. There has been no subdivision waivers or anything on this property within the last 7 years, is that correct?
No, the only issue with that parcel is that there's 3 structures on that parcel that we believe belong to Mr. Bailey. They're partially on that structure, or on that lot.
Okay,
If I may clarify, after reviewing some pictures from my field crew, went back out and took a look at it. They are temporary structures. The 2 in the rear here are canvas with arch metal to hold it up. I believe they're on a concrete slab. And the metal building is really more of a shed or a structure. Oh, okay, you have some pictures as well.
Yeah.
I don't believe anybody's discussed with Mr. Bailey about removing them yet, but it is maybe a possibility.
I talked to Mr. Bailey today. He allowed me to take those photos. They are 2 are carport, a canvas carport, and one's a metal carport. Our town regulations consider them a structure,
Okay,
all 3.
even if they're removable?
Yes.
Okay. Understood.
so where does that leave us moving forward? That has to be a condition of any approval? If
Well,
they
no.
remove?
That would be a lot without a principal structure.
So they couldn't have these structures got to be moved.
Correct. If that lot were to be separated, it would be considered a lot without a principal structure.
Oh, so the, if you will, like we call it, the encroachments are on the area, that would be the vacant lot, not the lot with the house?
Correct.
Interesting, okay.
But they don't belong to the
Right.
person who subdivided the land. They belong to an adjacent.
They belong to Mr. Bailey.
That's correct, yes.
So moving forward, they have to be removed before we can proceed?
Well,
Or
Condition.
our zoning law does not allow structures on a parcel without a principal structure.
In the past, we did it as a condition that they get taken off. We did it on Beat Kill.
So a condition within like a time period that they have to
Yeah,
do?
that's what we've done before.
The planning board has done that in the past, where there is a subdivision that results in a lot with an accessory structure, but no principal. You've conditioned it, you've added a time frame, and said either a principal structure does need to be constructed, or the accessory structures must be removed.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on this? Engineering?
I'm curious what that 4-inch vertical PVC pipe is. On lot 2.
My field crew was unable to identify its purpose. We could look at that.
Are you thinking it may be a vent pipe? Or,
I don't know. I wouldn't speculate, but it's on the map.
okay,
Might be a clean out pipe. We've done that.
Certainly speak to the schools. I'll certainly speak to the schools and see what they believe it to be.
anything else, Wayne?
I mean, all the structures on lot 1 are pre-existing. The wood frame house doesn't meet setback requirements, but it's pre-existing.
The wood frame house.
Mr. Stoll, Mr. Stoll says. That's actually a legal, non-conforming structure, so that Wayne's correct. That's not an issue for us to
That doesn't pertain to
address.
this.
Correct.
All right. Anything else? Do you have any comments from you from this?
No?
All right. Andy, how, can we move forward, or do some of these things have to be answered before we?
On the issue of the pipe, I'll leave that to the discretion of Wayne. We talked about the issue of the plat showing encroaching accessory structures. I would also advise that if you do choose to act on this, that condition is not simply limited to a primary structure or the accessory be removed, but that you're not in any way approving the location of that accessory structure or approving an encroachment. That's an existing condition that needs to be addressed.
May I ask a question? These three structures, would they have required a permit to be built?
Yes,
That's directed to.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Are they permitted structures?
we have not researched that,
Okay.
but we can.
Now, you said you spoke with Mr. Bailey,
I did. He allowed me to take the photos today.
and what was his reaction to that? Did he know that they would probably have to be removed?
He had no idea about this whole application. He had not talked to anybody, so this is the first he had heard about it. And obviously, he's very concerned about the three structures, so that's gonna have to be something that they work out between Mr. Bailey and the client.
All right. Andy, any suggestions on how to word that?
Well, I'll take one step back, which is a waiver is within the discretion of the planning board. And you really set the procedure. You know, in the past, you've not required any type of public hearing associated with a waiver. Subject to check as we sit here, that's completely within your discretion. You've heard from the building department that an adjacent property owner was not aware and is concerned about the structures that you're now discussing. And presumably that they were installed by the adjacent property owner. Whether the board wants to hear from that person or simply address this through a condition, that's within the board's discretion.
I'll comment on that since the owner of the structures was not aware of this situation, and approval is depending on him moving them. I would lean towards possibly having a public hearing to satisfy that requirement as far as notifying the owner.
Mhm.
That's just my opinion. I'd like to hear any comments from the board. Do you think it's necessary, or putting a condition that some third party would now have to be involved in the condition as far as the approval?
I think if the applicant wanted to take a step back and find out what the vent pipe was about, and talk to his neighbor, we could possibly handle it in the next meeting, or, at that point, we could schedule a public hearing, but it seems like it's an issue between two people, and not sure how many other people this parcel affects. Do you have any-
You had no contact with Mr. Bailey?
I have not. In fact, I don't think anybody at any of these are encroaching towards the survey now. I believe a survey has been done on these lands since '50s, I believe, is what our map reference shows.
It seems to me that Mr. Bailey's got to be involved in this. I mean, we're obviously, I mean, we just can't randomly tear it down.
We can look at that, of course, it's a legal or personal matter.
I would think that, you know, there should be contact with him, there should be some type of agreement with him that he has to remove them in so many days after the approval. And I agree with this vent pipe thing, I mean, the fact that you got it there.
Just report the facts.
Could it be a vent pipe for a pre-existing septic system or drainage system? Yeah. I mean, I think we should try to figure out what that is.
Could be nothing.
Who knows?
In the event that we're not able to determine what it is that could be problematic.
I don't know if it's necessarily a problem for a waiver of subdivision. Any development on the property should make that clear.
So does the applicant understand the, public hearing process?
Yes.
2 weeks out before?
Yeah, I mean, if we were to schedule a public hearing now, we wouldn't have it until the first meeting in May.
Okay. And I'm not familiar how with Brunswick's process as far as, do I contact the neighbors or?
Yeah, well, we issued the public warning in the surrounding area within 500 feet. People, 500?
300.
300.
And so it's certainly within your discretion to hold a public hearing. It's also a procedural option to have the applicant, property owner, Stoles,
Yes.
speak with Mr. Bailey. There could be some resolution that might address the concern. And as Linda said, in the ordinary course, waivers do not warrant a public hearing. So if there could be some way to address that matter.
We've discussed some possibilities. Obviously, we haven't brought Mr. Bailey on any of this, so we can do that as the next step, is speaking with him and seeing how he feels.
Okay. You know, he might just want to bring them over, move them. I don't know what the topo is there. Is it
It's, there's a hill here that drops quite a bit, not significantly, but it's in a,
There's a stream there. How did they get over on this?
well, the records show that stream was, for the most part, on this whole property. But the last time it was surveyed, there was no culvert there. That's a new addition.
Okay.
He's gonna have to move them onto his lot with the setback on the 25.
And get a vote.
Yeah, he doesn't have room. He doesn't have room to move them. There's other structures in the way that he would not be able to get the setback requirement without totally just removing them.
How large is the proposed vacant lot?
It's going to be 1.45 acres.
And what's the minimum lot size in that zoning district?
2,500.
That's an 825, yes.
9,000 square feet.
Well, I would propose that you contact Mr. Bailey, see if you can come with some resolution to that. Probably, you know, some kind of resolution with a signature on it for the record. And we can make that a condition of the approval moving forward. In the meantime, see if we can figure out what that PVC pipe is. Maybe somebody just stuck in the ground. But I think there ought to be some resolution there. So if we could take care of these 2 items before our next meeting, we can put you on the agenda for our next meeting. Other than that, I don't see anything that I have any concerns about with the subdivision here. Does anyone else have any issues that should be addressed before the applicant comes back on the 17th? And if everything satisfies, we may not need a public hearing.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay?
Certainly thought this would be very simple when it all came across my desk originally. It's turned into something else.
Yeah, well,
That's all right.
sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So we'll put you on the agenda for the 17th. All right? Do you have any other questions for us?
Not at this time. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good job. Okay, that concludes our agenda items, so I'm going to move on to our new business. We have several things on the new business. And I'm going to just take them in the order that I have on my. The first one is the, hold on a second. Let me get, First one I have listed as 13 Joy Lane.
Good evening.
How are you tonight?
Good, thank you. Take a minute here. You Set this up.
This is a waiver of subdivision.
Yes. Yes, so, with me, my name is Nick Costa, this is Hands Engineering Survey, and with me tonight is Karen, she's the applicant, and she also owns the two lots. She owns the house lot here, and then she owns a vacant lot right here, just above it. And what Mr. McCarthy would like to do is do a lot line adjustment. It's shown in red here. This garage is built and actually is straddling the property line of the two lots. And it doesn't meet, obviously, the setback requirements. And this lot line adjustment would remedy that approach.
Okay.
Are there any questions?
One question I have is, does lot 2, is that landlocked?
Yes. In the deed, there's, because we own both lots, if we sold it, we have the option to put in the new deed that there would be access, but we will not be doing that.
So you're not changing the status of that landlocked?
We're not sure. Yeah, no. We're gonna actually take it out of the deed for the 13 Fair Lane property.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll modify the deed.
Right now, both parcels are in one deed.
yes. Both parcels.
Say that again?
40+ years.
So you're actually creating a new second lot?
No,
No.
I didn't understand this previous statement about they're both on the same deed.
They're separate
Separate
parcels, but it's,
they're two separate deeds.
Yeah.
Okay.
We bought the first property first, and then when the person that owned the vacant lot passed away, the family approached us and asked us if we wanted to buy it.
Okay.
And so we did. But we bought it separately and we pay taxes on both separately.
they're
So
separate.
going back to the original thing, this is strictly just a lot line adjustment.
Exactly.
This parcel is 0.42 acres, or 2.4.
Yes,
4.4.
the home lot is 4.47 acres, and the vacant lot is 3 acres. And once they're adjusted, obviously, the home lot will be 4.89 acres, and the vacant lot will be 2.58 acres.
Kevin, is there any things here that we should be?
No, our only concern was the property line going through the accessory structure. That was the only issue we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did come before the board when we built that garage. And because we own both lots, you said you didn't have any concerns about us building the garage, even if it crossed the line, because we own both lots. But now that I'm selling them separately, we have to make that adjustment so it meets the town requirements for the garage.
Okay.
That's correct. We did find a permit for that structure, and it did allow them to build it, but it did have a stipulation that when they go to sell that, with the property line cutting through the building, that would have to be resolved. It was noted on the paperwork.
You have plans for lot 2?
For what?
Do you have plans for lot 2, the rest of that?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of selling it separately, and the person purchasing it has agreed to these changes.
Are they gonna merge it with their lot to make it so it has access to the road, or?
It's going to be up to them.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, but they do border, that's Larry Mackey, he borders the north side of the property, so if he wants to merge them, or he would just have access because he owns it, it's right adjacent to his property.
So he may be coming in for a lot line adjustment.
A merger.
Merger.
Yeah, a merger.
That might be in the future if that's what he decides to do. Mr. Joy is here and they're on the other side of this.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this?
You gotta do a ag data statement on this?
Did we do one for that?
He was in the process of getting one.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
He was in the process of getting one.
Ag data statement.
Yeah, he was talking to the assessor. He was supposed to be getting back and to let him know what the, like,
I
this
believe it
was.
was fun.
Since you're under new business, we can schedule you for our next meeting to have this on our agenda for further action.
So at that, in 2 weeks, you'd be able to make a decision? Or would you have to-
Probably, did you say that this requires an axe thing?
It's
Yes.
a lot line adjustment, and in case it did, because it does require one for subdivisions, and this is under a waiver of subdivision application. And even though it's a lot line adjustment, we were going to get one just to fulfill that, just in case it wasn't.
We should have that for our next meeting. Right? All right, then we'll put you on the agenda for our next meeting.
You're welcome. Probably just an oversight.
Do you have any questions for us?
It's simple, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Thank
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next on our new business is 52 Plant Lane. Henry, it's been a long time since we've seen you.
You guys are missing me.
Well, we were.
And if I use the,
Any of it?
Sure. Henry?
Take that forward. The whiteboard against the wall.
Yep. This is a simple one, isn't it?
What we're looking to do, lot 9 was a part of the original Gray Ledge subdivision. And, what I did is I simplified things rather than putting it on a big map. It shows lot 9 right here. It's a 5-acre lot that has frontage on Plant Lane. And what I'm looking to do is this back property line, like do a lot line adjustment and push it back into the lands of Riser Rock. And that would increase the lot size to 10 acres. It's 5 acres now, so we'd be adding 5 acres to it. And the reason for it is building a house for my daughter, and this is a nice field, it's nicer ground than where lot 9 is. And if we build the house back here, we have the existing roadway that we could use rather than building a 1,500-foot driveway, bringing all the power up into there. Everything is already here, so it'd be less expensive. And, you know, it had the frontage on Plant Lane. And it just, we're making it a lot bigger.
Okay. So you're not creating a new lot, you're basically,
Now, just enlarging
okay.
the lot, actually doubling the size of it.
Okay, I had a discussion with Kevin, the building department. And we had some concerns about this driveway. That when it was first approved, it didn't have the necessary turnouts for emergency vehicles due to the length.
Right, and we, when we did this Riser Rock subdivision, it was mentioned, I'm not sure, you asked me if there was turnarounds. There is 2 turnarounds, but they're, you know, they're not 50 by, or 20 feet wide by 50 deep or whatever, so 16 foot by 50 or something like that. So there is a couple of them there. And so the other part of this is, Kevin mentioned that we might have to change it on the map, or I suggested if we could put it into the agreement, the maintenance agreement, shared road agreement, if we could just add it in to there, because anybody that buys a lot or has a lot gets this with their deed. So under maintenance, you know, it says, I won't read the whole thing, but we could add it in there that the road has to either have the turnarounds, or my other suggestion that we talked about, just widening the whole road to 20 feet, and then you don't need to have the turnarounds. So that's kind of why I'm doing the lot line adjustment now, because we got to change something on the big map. You know, we can put the note on the big map and do the lot line adjustment on the big map. If we don't have to put that information on the big map, we could use this map for the lot line adjustment and then add the language in here. So that's kind of what I'm here tonight to see what's the best way to proceed. be able to do that.
I think either way you look at it, I mean, you're gonna have to satisfy the town requirements for turnaround, for whatever. It's really a fire building requirement. When you look at the railroad ground. Is it 20 feet or 26?
Well, actually, under further review, Henry, it's 26 feet. For driveways that are 500 to 750, it's 26. Over 750, it's a special approval. So the minimum is 26 feet.
So is that for the 3 houses or the?
That's for 4 more.
Or more? Okay, so as it stands now for what I'm applying for the permit for lot 3,
So yeah, under lot 3, it would be what they call a emergency vehicle access. And that would only need to be the, I believe it's 16 feet, I believe, with the turnoffs. As we discussed. But I would really like to see him put on this map myself, Henry, only because, you know, lot 2 and lot 3 are not developed yet, although lot 3 are going to be developing very shortly. That 500-foot requirement is basically from each driveway. So we've got to make sure that you're within that 500-foot requirement of those 50 by 20-foot turnoffs. As we discussed in the field, you got to work sort of backwards from lot 3 down, as we discussed.
right?
But I'll leave that up to Andy and the planning board, or if they feel that, you know, it doesn't need to be put on this map. But
As far as the 4 lots, it's just, you know, a driveway permit, typically, when you apply for a building permit, you get a driveway permit. You know, you build the driveway at the same time you're building the house. You know, the driveway that's here now is, you know, for lot 12, and then lot 3's, we'd be improving that as we build the house. So would we, you know, get the permit for lot 3, and then do the construction on the driveway as we're building the house like you typically would.
Where did lot 12 come in? Where's lot 12?
it's just around
Well, it was the house lot.
Henry's
So
house.
I can't see that on my. Okay,
Yeah,
so you got 1, 2, 3. You have 5 lots that have access to this existing, now this new driveway, is that correct?
No, there's the house lot is number 1, lot number 2 would be 2, lot 3 is 3, and then the remainder of the land is 4.
And your daughter's house is 5.
Lawyer's house is 5.
Right, this house is 5, but it doesn't have anything to do with the roadway there, that's on.
Oh, this lot in the back
Lot
picture, 9 is,
Oh, my daughter's, right, that doesn't exist yet, we haven't done it. It's,
that's 5 houses on
That's
that.
5 houses.
At some point, it becomes a town road.
Maybe it's lot 9 going out the Plant Road, so you have existing.
Lot 3 is a building department issue. Really, that's not in front of this planning board. The way I interpret the situation right now, that's really between the building department and Henry for lot 3. And that's what triggered the emergency access for lot 3. So when he's proposing lot 9 to be added to Riser Rock Lane, that's what's triggered in the fire apparatus road. So you're here for lot 9, not for lot 3, correct?
well, kind of, if we wanted to see what we wanted to, you know, lot 9, yes, we're putting in the application for it. But, we also want to know, we're going to find out the information, just let me know for lot number 3 to be able to get that permit now. You know, it's just that, you know, I understand that each house is treated like a driveway going all the way down to.
Correct.
You know, it's sharing.
Correct.
So like lot 2, you know, we don't really have any plans to build that for, you know, it could be 5 years.
Mhm.
So it seems like it should, as long as you have there for what the existing houses that you're applying for. So like right now, I have my house, the one house up there, And then now we're applying for lot 3, so that's only 2 houses on the road. So we should only have to have whatever fire apparatus is needed for the 2 houses. And if we apply for another one, then we have to upgrade the road for 3 houses. You know, those other lots might never happen.
This is ultimately going to be a building department determination, and they'll review it with separate counsel. My understanding, Henry, is when you were here for the prior, I can't even remember what the name was, but the prior Rise of Rock Farms subdivision, the proposed driveway, which would be shared access code, serviced 4 lots, correct? 4 lots would be served off of that existing private road. Is that correct?
That's it. I guess we have 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Yeah,
And this is not a Brunswick zoning law or subdivision issue. It's a New York State Fire Code.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, subject to check. My understanding was 4 lots or less, there were certain requirements for the road.
Yes.
And I've forgotten what that term is. But once you are 5 lots or more, another set of regulations of the fire code come in. Now it's a fire apparatus access road. And that's the table Kevin was reviewing where, given its length, it's 26-foot wide requirement under the state fire code. It's not a Brunswick issue, it's a state fire code issue. And so the application that you've submitted for lot 9 with the proposal to have that lot serviced off this road too, when a board is reviewing a subdivision, they have to look at that issue. Okay, it's got to comply with the fire code. Even though you may not build it for a while, the board would be approving it, and the issue is, does the roadway meet the fire code requirements? And the addition of the fifth lot, regardless of when they may actually be built out, on the plat that's in front of the board, does trigger certain requirements for the road. And it would need to be shown on the plat with a plat note headed that it's in compliance with the fire code. 4 lots or less, there's different standards. Okay, the width is much less, and then you just have the turnouts every so often.
Correct.
But when you add that 5th lot, as shown on a plat, additional fire code requirements kick in.
And I get that.
Yeah.
It's just, like I was saying, I was interpreting with to put in for a permit for the lot. You know, it's just, so, all right, so what do we have to do now? What is the requirement for the, as it stands right now, it's 4 lots, so it's the.
Fire access, fire access. So it's, for fire access, I'll read it to you here. The dimension would be 12 foot with turnouts at every 500 feet. Up to 4 lots.
And when it switches to 5 lots, if we add the waiver, if we choose to use that, because we could still do the waiver and use this as the access and not add it.
Okay, but now the record shows that that lot may be accessed off this driveway. You got a Fisher cut date on that because we're asking the board to approve a plat that shows it either is going to be accessed off this road or not. And if it is, then my advice for the board would be show it and just put it on the plat. It's going to add some
Right, if it's gonna be
work in
used,
the field.
I was just gonna say, if we were gonna choose not to, and then just make it, might be better off for us to just put that driveway in after all, so.
Yeah,
we might not-
it could be, given the work you'd have to do to upgrade that
Right.
road, and just have the long driveway. And that would then have this private shared road still at 4 lots, correct?
Right,
Which has reduced fire code requirements.
And if you decide to move that driveway, onto Riser Rock at that point in time, then we would address the fire apparatus road.
right. And another question, where here, the entire road has to be 26 feet? It wouldn't have to be up to the the driveway that put it up over.
Oh, it's to the door, it's to the door of the structures. It's to the door of the structures. So the fire apparatus road is to each door of the structures. So it'd be 26 feet the whole length.
Okay.
What is it now?
Huh?
What is it now? What's the width of the road?
Between 17, 18 feet, so it's not that far off, but when it was 20.
Yeah.
But now 26, it makes a big difference for that. But
What type of surface does this road have to be? Does it have to be,
It can be a gravel surface as long as it's maintained.
It has to support.
Axle loadable fire truck.
so there's not at this time a necessity to pave 26?
No.
okay, so for the purposes of being able to get started on lot 3, I wasn't aware of this fire stuff and everything at the last meeting when we did this subdivision, and we could have put it on a map then. Can I upgrade this road while I'm building lot 3? If we choose to do the 26 feet, they add that to be able to, get lot 3 going, then we can upgrade the road at the same time, just not get the CO for lot 3 if the road's not done.
Yeah, that has not changed from our previous discussion. And
Okay. All right, so I guess we'll just look at the lot 9 situation and with that application.
Okay,
Okay.
so you're under new business, obviously. We will put you on the agenda for our next meeting. And we can move forward if that's what you choose to do at that point. Which I assume you are, and we can move forward on just for the lot.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay, third on our new business is the Oakwood Avenue. Hello, how you doing? Oh, I didn't know you needed it. Oh, sorry.
Good evening, Francis Fossey, BOSSOL, I am the engineer representing both the landowner and the applicant.
I was told that this is simply a preliminary presentation to get us back up to speed.
Yes, we're here with a so-called sketch plan.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get everybody on board with what is proposed and maybe understand some procedures that we have to follow. So the project is located at the existing Diamond Rock Plaza. That's the building here on the left that Mr. Murley has built. And there's a lot existing on the northerly edge of that property that they're proposing a single-use retail structure branded Dollar General. Mr. Murley has a contract with the developer of that particular store. So what they're proposing is a 9,100 square foot building, single story on that vacant lot. We're able to show on this site plan that we have a compliant number of parking spaces, 37. There are utilities existing to the site, both sewer and municipal water. We'll make the appropriate connections. We'll manage stormwater similarly to what we had prepared in the original stormwater plan for the original plaza. If you recall, that was sketched in there to be a car wash 10 years ago. This is copy of that. This is the original site plan for that. That the northerly portion of that was a car wash. That was the basis for the original approvals. Egress will be through the existing curb cut onto Oakwood Avenue. There's a reciprocal easement that was created when this lot was subdivided off this parcel. So that easement arrangement is in place. Yes, and for the record, this parcel was changed from the light industrial zone to the B15 zone a year ago, 18 months.
Yeah.
So it is a compliant use. We're showing some landscaping schematically here, will be in compliance with the planting requirements. The developer did send on a elevation rendering, so some gable facades, wood siding, single-story building, kind of matching with what's up there.
So they asked that question, whether, aesthetically it was gonna match up with the original.
Yeah, this is what they're proposing. Obviously, there'll be some signage, some branding on there. We'll have to review the town requirements for that. And I think the intention is to present something that's compliant. We show a pylon sign on the site. There has been some discussion though about having one sign for the whole project. For both the existing Diamond Rock and this, so we'll have to review that before we get to the final site plan. Procedurally, I guess I have a few questions. One, we need to know what the fees are gonna be.
It's on the application.
Presuming it was a $2,500 fee.
Yeah, it's on the application, it's based on square footage.
Okay, so I had determined it was a 2,500, so that's what we'll do. This parcel's been subject to several versions of seeker, so you'll just have to give me some guidance, Andy, short form, long form, for this action.
I'm leaning toward long form, only because of what kind of transpired through Diamond Rock, environmental, the proximity of the environmental issues there. And you're gonna have to probably address traffic, hurry movements in and out of here. And I think there's enough potential there where you might need to do sure.
We did look at some things, traffic and utility usage, just rough comparison based to the original car wash. This size building and that size car wash were very similar, so we have to document that if we can. Water usage.
I recall a turning was proposed on that north approach. Was there turning lane on something?
Coming southbound, you mean?
Southbound,
Yeah.
and left.
There's a center median there, and there's left turn northbound for the going into the development across the street. There's no
Yeah.
dedicated turn lane.
Shows it right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this was the original.
Yep.
So right now, it's a striped island, so it might be a simpler for striping it.
If there's width there, yeah, it'd be a matter of getting that approved by, that's still a county work, so.
Yep.
By the county, give us some traffic information.
Sure. And then because we're proximate to the municipal border, will there be a county referral to county planning? Yes?
There will be a referral to the county and then at the stage of a public hearing, notice to the city attorney.
Okay. Can that referral be done? What triggers the referral? I'm just thinking of the timeframe.
Complete
That's a
application.
30-day.
Yeah, when the site plan comes in, the board generally, their practice has been to review that to make sure that it's complete. Once that happens, it'll get
Then
reviewed.
you do it, okay.
You show a loading dock in the back. Am I to assume that there would be tractor trailers loading there?
I'm not sure, what, I'm guessing that it probably is some kind of tractor trailer. This driveway, goes behind the existing plaza. So from that turning movement standpoint, they'd be able to pull down and back in off this, and use this loading area. I don't think there's a formal dock per se there. There's a door. It's just a simple double door on the back.
Okay.
Double door there. Pretty basic, not even covered, so there's a ramp, some kind of ramp there.
So on the northern end of the parking lot, you got these little things. What are these?
Oh, here? No, that's, we're just showing some schematic landscaping. There's some requirements in the code for numbers of plants for landscaping, plantings.
Bushes or something like that.
Yeah, the parking code says, whatever, a certain number of trees per space and then a certain number of bushes per space as well, so we're just kind of demonstrating if we're aware of that. There'll be some kind of formal landscaping plan. with the site plan.
Have you thought about the lighting? The lighting plan?
Not to the point of knowing what they want to do.
I would assume that there's gonna be lighting in the parking lot.
Yeah, this size parking lot would be probably a couple of wall packs and maybe some kind of freestanding lamp out on the, maybe two on the other side of the parking. That's probably going to be more of a tenant requirement or the brand requirement.
What are the hours of operation? You propose it, do you know?
It's going to be the normal store, store hours, probably closing at 9 during the week. Open at 8 or 9. I can have that information for you.
Okay.
Can you get a bit more definitive of what the loading area is gonna be like?
Yes.
I mean, a dock or, the doors are gone.
Well, the way they're showing it, and the way the information I was sent to, was no dock. It's just a ramp, curb cut ramp, 6-inch curb cut ramp, going into those doors.
So they're gonna lift everything off the back of the truck?
Well, I assume they'd send a truck with a lift gate on the back.
Or they may have a forklift, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Maybe you could look into that and see what
Yeah,
they're.
we can give you an answer on that.
Yeah.
Dumpsters. Anything we're missing here, Kevin?
Not that I can think of.
Wayne, you have anything
Well, you're
further?
gonna put some proposed contours on this, right?
Yeah, when we submit the site plan package, there'll be a, standard fare, grading plan, utility plans, standard plan.
As far as, I'm sorry,
No, I was just gonna follow up, the expectation here is that the grading will go back towards the existing, to the south to utilize the existing.
A lot like what was there for the car wash, kind of graded, kind of like that was. 'Cause
Yeah.
You had designed your stormwater to accommodate both sites.
Right, the original SWIP, for which the permit is still open, the original SWIP had accommodated the impervious area that car wash schematic that we just passed around.
You intend on amending the slip for this site plan?
We'll have to check, make sure that, our assumptions then are still valid now, and there'll be some kind of amendment. Well, there'll be at least an amended plan, if the calculations are all okay.
You'll submit that.
Yeah.
Stormwater grading plan.
It's a new permit, so they usually comply with anything?
No, because the old permit was still in effect. We did file for the
Okay.
notice of continuation, continued coverage.
Thank
I think there are a lot of people that probably didn't do that, but we had a scramble. I don't represent many people, but we did a bunch of them before that deadline.
March 31st.
Yeah, just for this purpose, because we would start you over.
Is this a small, medium, or large Dollar General?
For this developer, it's about typical. And I think that the
This
ones-
developer, the guy who has the franchise, or?
Yeah, this Calito is their name, Calito, they're from Connecticut. Some that I've looked at are 10,000 square feet, some are a little smaller. This seems to be the medium range. I can get a little more information on what they're typically.
So you'd be in the process of submitting a formal application with the, EAF long form, bunch of other things you have to take care of. What is your anticipated time of coming back before us? One?
Yeah, probably 2 weeks would be a rush, so I would say first.
I would recommend 2 weeks. I think
First
there's a
week
lot
in
on
May.
our agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to get things submitted before we come to the meeting. Yeah, I don't want to submit things that day, and then there's no point of a fee, because nobody can comment on it.
Okay.
I suppose it'd be, what's that?
I like the way you think.
Well, we're only coming out of next to nothing. So it's probably just best for us to wait to submit everything, the application, the fee, the long form, along with the plan. All at once.
I would suggest that.
Is this gonna need a public hearing, or down a county road?
So recall with the site plan, that's within the discretion of the board. So certainly along the East Road corridor, then your practice to hold public hearings. I know there was a prior proposal for this site, which the board did hold a public hearing. Project didn't move forward, so that'll be within your discretion, but there's certainly a record here. And as Fran mentioned, there's a number of folks that were interested in the site across the street the last
We
go.
they hope that we got this year.
I would say there's a good chance this is gonna go before a public hearing. Okay.
All right, thanks for
Okay,
your,
then, our first meeting in May would be
May 1st.
May 1st, so we'll put you on our agenda for May 1st. And if there's any changes to that, or you need more time, please let us know.
yeah, we'll know in a couple of weeks how we're doing, so.
All right, so,
All right. Thanks so much.
you're welcome, and thank you. Okay, that's the 3 new business I have. Am I missing one? Okay. This is for. CDP.
Oh, all right.
Is that? Is that mine or- Okay, that's, unless there's some, I see 2 gentlemen out there. Is there something I missed, or you're just, we're here for something else?
Here for school.
Okay.
No.
Learn anything?
Jim Murray from 126 Chesney Avenue. I'm just lurking because I have concerns about the Brunswick Square, whether there's going to be a amendment to the PDD. So I'm just wondering, I've been in some contact with Kevin. I think you're Kevin, right?
Yes.
Could you come up?
Yeah, so yeah.
Give it a little better.
Okay.
Right, Jim Murray. So they moved their dumpsters. And I don't really care that they moved them, but I do care that I've been getting trash from their old dumpsters for the past 6 months. Contacted the owner, contacted the town, still getting the trash. So now they moved the dumpsters closer to McChesney on the grass, which was once green space. So I'm kind of following the progression of this.
I would say that that is not a planning board issue, that that's a town board. You should go before the town board to address that. They have an open forum at their town boards. We do not. You are, basically,
I was told it's gonna come before the planning board.
So let me explain. Mr. Inkster did come in front of us about moving some dumpsters
Yep,
at his plaza. He relocated them from where they were originally approved and added the quantity to the dumpsters. He added a second dumpster to that site. So, as this gentleman said, there is an issue with garbage and debris coming out of those dumpsters. So I told him it was my opinion that it was a significant change to the PDD and it needs to come to the planning board for approval to relocate the dumpster and adding a second dumpster. He's adding
you're
a,
talking to Mr. Angstrom.
yes,
Okay.
he wants to add a concrete pad and at a new location from where they currently were approved and put 2 dumpsters there instead of 1
Okay.
that was originally approved.
Okay.
So I guess I'm just bringing it to your attention that
Okay, we did have a preliminary discussion about that. That hasn't come before us yet.
Okay.
So when it does, you can come before us again, and,
Sure, I was just somewhat concerned that it was moving along and it wasn't going to get on the agenda. And so I needed to just tell them that.
we just haven't gotten anything formal as far as it.
And he's preparing all the documents.
Yeah, he's preparing all this stuff. All right,
Thank you.
okay. All right, that concludes our new business. Is there any old business? Okay, if there's no other business, I'm just going to go review the agenda. We have on our agenda for next, on the 17th, Paramount Building, CPD Hills. We have 13 Joy Lane, 52 Plant Lane, which is Henry Reiser. Oakwood Avenue is now out on May 1st, and I believe Marie's Muse is going to be scheduled tentatively, right, to come in? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Is
So-
the clock ticking on those guys? Or-
The clock is ticking, but they chose to apparently address the zoning board to square that.
Right, as we sit here now, I can't recall the date of the last joint meeting when the public
17th.
hearing was closed. 17th?
17th.
Church Day. Okay, so yes, it'd be 62 days from the close of that. If I'm reckoning correctly. 16, May 16th?
Thereabouts.
May 18th.
The 18th, so there's,
So you've got 2 planning board meetings in May.
yeah,
And remember, that period can always be extended upon mutual consent of the applicant.
okay.
So they are working, and I believe it's their approach to have the variance issues addressed and resolved before they come back to the planning board.
Okay.
So they're on for our next April meeting?
No, you
They're
mean
for the first
Marie's
meeting in May?
Muse?
Marie's Muse
Yeah,
is
first
on.
of May, because the zoning board will meet later in April.
So Marie's Muse will not be on their agenda for the 17th?
Correct. Is that right? Wendy?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, then I scratch that.
I had them listed tentatively for May 1. Yes.
Okay.
So the zoning board has the same clock that
Correct.
So their May meeting is on the 19th, and we run out on the 18th. Is it Sunday?
And correct, and that'll have to be addressed, and we'll raise that at the zoning board meeting. If there's not action, that will need to be an extension. I think I've generally reviewed with this board in the past, even though the statute, in our case, the zoning law provides for that time frame. The remedy is not a default approval. It's for an applicant to go into court and compel the courts to act on their application. The only default approval is on a subdivision. There is the subdivision component of this. So the planning board will need to confirm an extension. The variances are not, in my legal opinion, subject to default approval, so we'll deal with that in due course. But we're aware of that 62-day period and an extension, I'm sure, if necessary.
Okay, if there's nothing else.
I believe Mr. Inkster does want to be under new business under your next planning board meeting.
Who does?
Mr. Inkster.
Okay.
Well, that would just be new applications.
Right. Just
No,
a-
just to
just
clarify
FYI.
thing, when he was talking about flying garbage and everything, that was not an issue for the planning board. To be honest with you, I thought he was more addressing the nuisance, the garbage blowing around and not so much the placement of it.
No, I would agree with it, but that was part of my decision-making for having to come from the planning board.
Okay. Not him, but Angstrom.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, then I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
So the dumpsters, that's where the pot shop is.
Behind them, yeah. Yeah, he moved them from a grassy area to another across the way and added a second dumpster.